What author would you like to have dinner with, dead or alive? Nick Emmy, start us
Wait,
off.
why am I starting? Uh, See, the thing is, in terms of like author, like I'm like curious as to like so like is like Socrates an author? Because technically he probably wrote some things, so he's technically an author. I just want to have dinner with him. So, but like a traditional author, um, Margaret Atwood, 100%. My boss in college, he like told me that he had dinner with Margaret Atwood, and I was like, oh my God, because his girlfriend is Emily Wilson, who translated like the Iliad and Odyssey, and she had dinner with Margaret Atwood and like Joan or yeah, like famous authors and stuff. And then I was just like, oh my God, like you actually were in the same presence as Margaret Atwood, so I would want to do that. Marina, what author would you like to have dinner with?
Mine is kind of on the Socrates level. I would like to have it with Shakespeare. I mentioned this before that I like one of his plays, but also the amount of hours that I've had to read many of his plays, and everyone thinks that he's either like really good or really bad. And I want to know if that's like intentional, like half of his stuff is intentional, or it's like time made him good, like the Mona Lisa kind of thing, where it's like it was just
Mm,
a painting, and then like I think it'd be interesting to know that.
Robin.
This is hard. I think like there's part of me that wants to say Jane Austen just because she's such like an icon of like classic literature. But then there's also part of me that's like, okay, but what about my like fantasy author that I'm upset? Like I love Holly Black. She wrote The Cruel Prince, which is like like a really it's like relatively new still. I love her so much and I would love to just like pick her brain about like the characters. But like so I'm like between the two for sure.
Can you imagine like Jane Austen eating like a hamburger or something? That'd be so funny. Grace.
Um, this is really hard. I would like, um, I think Sylvia Plath would be really,
Mm,
really interesting to have dinner with. That would be a very interesting conversation. But I also like Susan Collins, I think would also be so cool, especially because she really just seems to she's just kind of like I don't know much about her. She's not really in the media that much. I feel like she writes her book and then she kind of like goes back into hiding almost. I see her as and just like the way she wrote The Hunger Games is just I love them so much. So I think that would be really interesting.
did you write something else that wasn't the Hunger Games series? Or is that just like
Maybe, but I'm not sure what.
we could ask her like, is she like a PETA or Gale girl or like President Snow, low key, the movie? Is she like does she approve on the way he was portrayed in the movie? Because um Zarya.
My first thought is Kara Baston. She wrote a book like last year, and I read it recently, and I feel like we kind of had like a similar idea for like a book that I want to write, and I feel like I like talking to people who are like-minded, so I feel like that would be cool. And then also, this is like a manga writer, so I'm not sure how like her English is, but Julieta Suzuki, I hope I'm saying that right. But she wrote Kami-sama Kiss like an anime or whatever, and I think it's so cute. But I'm not sure if she really speaks English. I'm not sure, but like if she does, I want to like talk to her about that.
What did the first person like what book did he write that you think that you said that you want to write?
She wrote Promise Me Sunshine.
What was it about?
It's like a romance book, but it has to do like it deals with grief. And I feel like that was like a part of my book that I wanted to write because I don't really know about grief. So like reading about it kind of helps me understand it more, especially like
Mhm.
a grief and romance book. So yeah.
I like when romance books like have other themes that isn't just like, oh, I love you, but I don't know how to be with you and stuff. Liz.
I would want to have dinner with Octavia E. Butler just
Mm.
because I'm like, Parable of the Talents, you predicted that. Like, and it's just like, for its time, she like, it was just so brilliant, and I don't think she gets enough love for it. But I think I would just definitely want to ask questions. Then in the back of her book, she has like those discussion questions for like book clubs and stuff. I think I would love to dive into her thought process and how she's predicting the future.
You have to like tell her like the future. You have to be like,
Yeah.
so here's what's going on in
So you were right.
2026.
Yeah.
Has everyone gone? I guess only Rich hasn't gone.
I need to go. I think I would answer it the same way. I think Grace asked me about it with writer quotes from last week, and I opened up the Aspire notebook, and F. Scott Fitzgerald, Oscar Wilde, and Chuck Klosterman were back to back to back, and I think that's what I would choose with writers having dinner. That would be such a fun time to hang with Oscar Wilde and F. Scott Fitzgerald. And Chuck Klosterman is like really quirky, and the conversation would be so dynamic. I envision like a dinner that would last through the night and into the morning. That would be a lot of fun. That's a good crowd. That's a good hang.
Yeah. It was so great to have dinner with F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway and just like be there while they just beef it out. And I'd just be like a fly on the wall.
I feel like Hemingway would try to commandeer the conversation too much.
Probably. Yeah. But still it'd be fun to be there.